Sorry for the interruption, folks. Hi everyone, this is Soumya with HCL and I will be your moderator. Welcome to webinar Emulator Solutions in the HCL Mainframe portfolio. Our speaker is Sunil Kumar, Development and Release Manager, Terminal Emulation and Transformation Products. Before we begin, I would like to direct your attention to the questions section of your webinar panel. You may type your questions there and we will address them at the Q&A segment at the end. Now let's jump into the webcast. Sunil, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Soumya. Hello, everyone. I'm Sunil. I'm the Development and Release Manager for HACP and Hast, Host Access Client Package and Host Access Transformation Services. So this is a quick overview of the emulation and transformation products under mainframe vertical of HCL products and platforms. This is the first of a series of webinars that we want to conduct under mainframe portfolio of HCL, where we'll be explaining the product functionalities, features, and use cases, or the future roadmaps, or whatever is going to happen in this particular vertical of our products and platforms division of HCL. So to start with, in this session, I would like to give a brief introduction of mainframe related emulator products that we have here. So to start with, what is a terminal emulator? So all the mainframes and Unix based systems, they have command line interfaces, and they offer a variety of commands and functionalities associated with that, so that we can perform powerful transactions and within no time. And these mainframes are located in basically in big labs, and there will be some terminals usually outside the lab for the users to interact with the mainframes. So a typical terminal, a dumb terminal, looks like whatever is shown in the screen that connects to a mainframe, and this is the only interface that we used to get in the past to contact any mainframe or which resides in a lab. So, but after the introduction of PCs, laptops, and mobile devices, so we want everything to be done on the PCs or mobile devices that we have in our hands, and the terminal emulation software just enables us to do that. So emulation software is nothing but a copy of a dumb terminal which is running on your PC or a laptop or a Mac or Android devices or iPads or tabs or anything. So on any device basically. So if you can get the copy of your dumb terminal onto anything so that you can interact with mainframes, that's called an emulator. So IBM and HCL Offerings. So basically all these products are from IBM, and as part of our 15 years partnership with IBM, HCL got the development and the support responsibilities of these products, and in HCL we do develop these products and maintain them. So to start with, first one is Host Access Client Package, HACP, and it is a set of 3 products: personal communications, PCOMM, host on demand, HODS, and HACP extended edition, which is HACP EE. And the second product is Host Access Transformation Services, HACS. So I'll take you through each of these products with brief introduction and what are the capabilities and functionalities of these products one by one. Start with personal communications. So personal communications is a very stable and old product from IBM, and it is meant to emulate terminals for mainframes and Unix systems on Windows. So this is developed only for Windows, and it is written using native C and Windows SDK. It is fast, and it can support wide range of connectivity options, including telnet, SNA and Comport and IBM and MS SNA gateways. So basically IBM gateway is the COM server and Microsoft's gateway is the HIS server. So it supports multiple connectivity options to host systems, and the latest version of personal communication supports all the latest security protocols with TLS 1 or 2 and FIPS compliance, and client server negotiation with Microsoft crypto APIs. So it also supports a virtualization environment. So meaning you can just deploy it on a Citrix environment as a published application, and without installing it on your system, you can use Citrix to get the personal communication client onto your system and use it. And as a for ease of access and navigation through host screens, personal communication supports macros, which are essentially script files which can be written as a plain text or the VB macros. So they can be used to perform day-to-day transactions with relatively very easily. So user need not perform repetitive actions manually. So you can record once and then play back, and also you can automate all these actions using LAP calls or PCOMM's automation APIs, and you can integrate with other applications on your system, be it Microsoft Excel or Word or uh, other VB, C or Java based applications that can directly interact with PCOM's host screens and get the data out of host systems, be it IBM 3270, which is system Z, or 5250, which is system I. So if you see the typical structure of or architecture of Windows would be installing personal communications on Windows operating systems, and it can directly connect to the telnet servers on both system I and Z and Unix systems as well. So and it also has a file transfer protocol client, so which is an FTP client, which can be used to transfer files directly to all the such systems, which can be system Z, I, and Unix, or any type of FTP server which resides on any host. It also supports express logon functionalities and also host graphics, and it supports hotspots. So basically you can have ease of users features on right from your Windows PC, and you can have all the things automated, and all the users share the common session configurations from one location, so that any user logs into the same system can see the session configuration shared from one particular location, so that it will help administrator to maintain the set of sessions used by certain users. So going to next product, which is host on demand. So it is pretty much similar to personal communication when it comes to client part. It supports all the types of connectivities except SNA connectivity to host systems, and it is Java based client. So which means it can run on not just Windows but any Java supported platform, which is Windows, all the flavors of Windows operating systems, all the types of Linux operating systems, and Mac OS also. And the advantage of host on demand over PCOMM is not just platform independence, it also the administrator capabilities of host on demand. So what it means is you can have a host on demand server installed on one particular machine. It can be a mainframe, it can be a AS4 system, it can be a plain Linux or Windows system. So server can go and sit on any of these systems, and with a click of a button, client can access the host systems from his system without even installing the product, which means when you access the server URL through a browser or by other means using a JNLP file, if it is a web start client, all the required binaries will get downloaded to the system dynamically, and they can directly connect to the host systems and start communicating to host systems right from their client machines. So all they need is a Java runtime environment installed on their end user system. Other than that, there is no need to install host on demand on each and every system like PCOMM does, and it will ease administrators work by maintaining the latest version on every client without even actually installing on all the systems. So they upgrade the server system once, and all the clients upon next usage gets upgraded to the latest version of host on demand. It's not just a version of host on demand, all the configurations also will be updated and can be segregated into groups and given to the right set of users, and only they can access with right authorization and authentication mechanisms which are provided by host on demand out of the box. And like personal communication, host on demand also supports LRP applications, which means you can access host streams using VB or C applications, and also host access toolkit, which contains host access class library HACL for Java. So all the Java, you can actually come up with a your own version of emulator software using these APIs without even using host on demand. So this toolkit is a set of jars that you can install and you can start writing your own applications using just these APIs of host on demand. And host on demand can be accessed multiple ways. So it can be starting from applets to web starts to a new hard launcher that we introduced in latest version, where there is no dependency on Java deployment technologies like applets or web starts, because they are being deprecated and removed by Oracle and other versions of Java in real soon. So basically they already deprecated it, and upcoming versions of Oracle Java will not have applets and web start clients. So we do have an alternative solution for that in the form of hot launcher, which is a uh, custom launcher for host on demand application. So there is nothing for changes that from the user perspective, so they can still access a URL and get the client downloaded to their end user system without any further installation except the small footprint of launcher. They can uh, keep using host on demand client as is with the same configurations and the authentication mechanism they already have in place. And host on demand also supports macros, hotspots, kitty map, and all the functionalities that PCOMM supports. And it also has it is also up to date with the security with TLS 1.2, and this also has an FTP client, which also can be used directly from the server. So you don't have to install anything separately on the end user system. So on ZOS LDAP setup, host on demand can also use RACF functionality for authentication of the users. So all the information and the config, all the user authentication information and the configuration can reside on LDAP server, and multiple host on demand servers can access the same LDAP server to fetch the information. This way you can have multiple host on demand servers for load balancing and a variety number of clients using it directly from their client systems. So going to HACP Extended Edition. So like when we say host on demand is platform independent, and again we put clauses on that saying it is Java based, and because Java is platform independent, and we can call host on demand platform independent, but the platforms are limited to desktops or laptops which run either Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, because Java is supported only on those things. So, but with the advent of new devices which are fully capable of running any kind of an application that is available uh, recently with the power of the mobile devices and the tablets increasing day by day, platform, the meaning of the platform has crossed both desktops and laptops. It also comes to handheld devices, mobiles, tablets, and everything. So with that, to actually make a real platform independent terminal emulator solution, we should not have anything to be installed as a prerequisite on the system. So HACP extended is just that. All it needs is a browser, which all the devices will have pre-installed and configured anyway, and it is completely zero footprint solution, and none of the binaries or a configuration that gets directly downloaded to the system. All it does is gets cached into the web browser, and we can actually access all the host systems right from the browser. So there are no clauses here, no prerequisites, nothing on the client system. And host on HACP EE also uses the existing host on demand infrastructure, where if you have all the users defined and the configurations defined, everything, all the authentication mechanisms set using host on demand, all you need to do is to have HACP Extended Edition deployed in an application server and configure with the existing host on demand server to get the configuration files and the user files and everything, and client can directly see the interface on a web browser and access it. So it's a very minimal migration path for the users. All they need to do is to change the URL from host on demand's URL to HACP-EE's URL. All it takes is one character change or two characters change in the URL, and you'll get same pages and the user information and the logins and the configurations reused or used across both host on demand and HACP-EE at the same time. And it is also end-to-end secure. So client to application server is secure with HTTPS, and from application server to the end host is secured with TLS. And the next product that we have is Host Access Transformation Services, HATS. And this is not just an emulator, or it is actually not an emulator, but more than that. So what it does is to convert all your emulator screens into web pages. So let's see, if you have a set of users which are actually end users and not your desk users, where they actually interact with the mainframe. So as an end user who doesn't know anything about mainframe, but they want to access the application, and with simple clicks on the web page, host access transformation services is the way to go. And that actually allows you to get user-centric interface and a easy to access web page without actually changing any of the code on your application which resides on the mainframe, be it a COBOL code or RPG code or on AS400. It can be any of the CLI commands or anything, and everything can be simplified into simple user clicks and navigation through web pages, and you can give a very minimalistic interface for the end user to access their application and get the required data. And it also supports integration with existing business logic, existing applications which resides on your application server, integrate with them, and then try to share the data between mainframes and your end applications and perform transactions on the fly. And the HATS can also be used to create self transactions, or using in the form of web services, where you can actually come up with a flow of uh, keystrokes and the screen navigations in the form of a macro. So which means you can create a transaction out of macros and then export it as a web service, and without even looking at the green screen on the web page, this web service can cater to the end users by taking the right set of input and giving the required output in the form of just a JSON or XML format that can be converted into any format for the required for the application, be it a mobile application or a web application or simple HTTP request that goes from a browser directly. So all this takes is to connect to the host system in the background using host access transformation services toolkit, and then come up with a simple set of recordings using macros and other wizards, which are very user friendly and just GUI based wizards that can help you create these transactions and can be deployed directly as an as a web service that can be consumed by any kind of a client, be it a mobile or a web browser. And Hats also provides a way to create rich desktop applications using Eclipse APIs, where it can directly connect to the host systems but doesn't look like an emulator, and you can have all the customizations and transformations done on a desktop application and have it deployed onto the end user systems directly, which can directly talk to the host systems with all these easy to use interfaces created or tailor fit only for them. So Hats internally uses host-on-demand libraries. So all the security features that host-on-demand has by default applies to Hats as well. And on top of it, it supports HTTPS connections from the web browsers to the application server, depending on the application server that we use. And it supports a wide range of application servers, starting from IBM WebSphere application servers to uh, Apache Geronimo, WebLogic, and recently, the upcoming version, we are looking for JBoss support as well. So now the question is how to choose the right product or offering for our needs. So if you're looking for the wide range of connectivity for host systems from a Windows PC, and where all the users are on Windows and administration is centralized by uh, creating the configuration files and sending it to all the Windows users and having the session shared across multiple users on the same system, then PCOMM is the way to go because it is fast and it connects to uh, host applications from Windows machine flawlessly, and it is very stable. And if you're looking for a centralized administration where an administrator has to maintain your set of users and with the right access of authorization and authentication mechanisms, and if you want to share the user base across available client operating systems for the desktop or the laptop environments, be it Windows or Linux, both Red Hat or Ubuntu, and Mac or anything which can run Java or runtime, then host on demand is the way to go because it offers very flexible administrative capabilities where administrator can restrict or allow users based on the authentication that is provided for them, and they can actually or he can actually club users into multiple groups and provide the required configuration for them. And also it provides various APIs that can be used to customize the look and feel of the product and the usage scenarios of the product, and you can even come up with a custom version of emulator using the rich set of APIs that host on demand provides. And for HACP EE, if the user base is completely on browsers without any prerequisites, it's a very lightweight system, be it a mobile or a tab or any laptop with or without touch interface, having just a browser and no access to any of the or no plugins that are installed on the browsers, basically all the latest browsers including Chrome, Edge, and Firefox latest versions, which stop supporting all the plugins on the browsers, then HACP is the way to go, and it is completely zero footprint solution, and it can make use of host on demand server configurations that are already there, and the whole infrastructure that is already present, and you can actually use both host on demand HACP EE to cater to multiple users with the same infrastructure maintained by the same administrator or in different administrators based on the systems that you have. And if you want to transform the terminal applications without changing any of the code on the host application, but get all the latest and greatest interface for the users without changing your stable 30 or 40-year-old COBOL code, which is working perfectly fine, and but the requirements of the users are changing on the end client side, basically to access the applications and get the data out of the applications, then host access transformation is the product that you have to choose to convert your terminal screens into web pages, and with relatively very easy and easy to use wizards, and deployed directly on the application server right from the toolkit, and then you can customize the applications as and when you go. So basically you can just get the Hast installed on your system and create an application which will readily convert all the green screens into web pages, and based on your requirement you can actually work on some application screens later to customize for the user's needs. And also, if you want to expose any of your terminal applications into self-serviceable transactions using web services, you can use Hast and then create web services for any host application, even if it doesn't natively support REST interfaces or REST capabilities. So nowadays, some of the System Z and I applications support REST web service, creation of REST services right from the uh, host application itself. But even if your application is very old, you can still use Hast to create applications, you create web services for your applications and deploy into any application server to make them self-serviceable transactions. Samir can take over, and we can go for a question and answer session.
Sure, Sonal. Folks, just a reminder to use the question section on the webcast panel to ask your questions. We have few seeded questions. I just go through that. Our first question is, what does the IBM HCL IP partnership mean to customers?
So basically, like I mentioned, these are all IBM products which are now maintained and developed by HCL as part of a 15-year partnership between IBM and HCL. And for an end user or a customer, it is still an IBM product. The only difference that they would see is to talk to HCL employees for any of the service and support requirements. So, but they still use IBM interfaces to open any of the enhancement requests or the PMOs or anything. Only thing is the developers and the support engineers are from HCL now.
Okay, our next question is, with Java deprecating applets and web start, what preparation do you think our HOD customer should be going?
So, like I explained in host when I was going with host on demand, uh, host on demand supports multiple ways to launch the client application, starting from applets, webstart, and now the hard launcher, which is a custom launcher provided for host on demand application to be launched on any of the client operating systems. So right now, applets and webstarts ways still work with Java 8 and 9. But going forward, now Oracle decided to stop the deployment technologies, which are both applets and webstart. Host on demand launcher is a custom launcher for host on demand client that can be installed. It is about a couple of KB, a very small footprint that gets installed onto your end system, whether it is Windows or Linux. Windows is currently for Windows, it is currently available in host on demand's latest version already, which is available for our end users. And for Linux, it is the development is currently underway for the upcoming versions. So this is the launcher that we will be using in future when Java decides to stop applet and WebStart support in upcoming versions. So for users, it is exactly similar to the WebStart client, that whatever currently is available in host on demand, where the binaries gets downloaded to the client, and the same web page will be seamlessly converted to host on demand launcher support, and there wouldn't be any change that is required from the user's perspective.
Okay, and our next question is, can HACP be used as a replacement for HOD once it is completely developed to support all necessary features?
So HACP is mainly a zero footprint emulator solution that is tailored fit for the browsers and browser based access because of its inherent uh, capability of running on the browser and browsers alone, because it is completely written in JavaScript and HTML5. uh, it can run only on the browsers, unlike host on demand, which can run both on browsers using applets and as a standalone application WebStack. So all the functions and features of host on demand are currently not available in HackPE, but because its development is underway, and the latest version already supports macros in HackPE, which can be directly used. I mean, the existing macros of host on demand can be directly used on HackPE as well. So going forward, for browser-based access, which is the applet-based solution of host on demand, uh, for that, HackPE is a complete replacement. However, the Hackle and the programmable hard interface, where you'll get to write your own applications, terminal applications using Hackle APIs. Host on demand is still the way, and for customization or the LAP support for any third-party integration with the desktop applications, host on demand is still makes sense because it runs on the desktop, whereas HackPE runs on the browser. But however, HackPE is for users who wants the flexibility to use emulators on any kind of device, be it a desktop or a laptop or a mobile device.
Okay, and the other question is, where can I find information regarding the future-proof HOD launcher? I found no reference to it in the HOD v13 documentation.
HOD new launcher is introduced in the 13.01 refresh pack, which is after 13's release, because that's when Oracle, with the release of Java 9 in late or in the last quarter of 2017, they announced that WebStar also is going away. That was kind of a surprise for us too, because they never mentioned earlier that WebStart technology is also going away, because they concentrated on only applets, and they kept on telling applets will be going away, and we'll have to fall back to WebStart for everything. But with the announcement that they made as WebStart being deprecated, we started developing a host-on-demand launcher solution, and we've added that in the refresh pack of 13.01. And because it is currently only for Windows, we haven't publicly announced it yet, but it can be enabled with a parameter right now, and we have a tech note which we will be published, and it will be available for the public soon. I mean, the tech note will be published with the information on how to enable it. We haven't started supporting Java 10 right now. So with the support of support statement for Java 10, we'll be releasing the tech note to enable host on demand launcher, so that users can enable the parameter on the server side, and all the clients will directly start using host on demand launcher instead of WebStart.
Okay, and our next question is, what are the application servers that HackP and Host License Manager can work with?
HackP EE and the License Manager currently can work with the WebSphere application server alone, and we will soon support other application server that uh, HAT supports currently, because that is the list of application servers we are targeting to support for both the license manager and HACP EE.
Okay, and the next question is, where can I find more info on the 13.0.1 launcher that was just mentioned?
Yeah, this is similar to the same question that I answered. So with the support statement of Java 10 support with host on demand, we'll be releasing a tech note that will have the information to enable hot launcher with a parameter on the server side. So it's just a small change on the server so that all the clients will access host on demand launcher with the new versions of Java. So we are currently testing Java 10 and Java 9 with our latest versions of Java 9 and Java 10 with host on demand. And once we complete it, we will claim support on both the versions of Java, and we will release the tech note which will uh, have the information to enable host on demand launcher on the server side for all the clients.
Okay, and the next question is, what has changed in the products in terms of capabilities, people, roadmap, etc. after moving to HCL?
So to start with, the main intention of IBM to offload the development and support functionalities to HCL was to concentrate more on the features and functionalities of the products and cater better to our customers and listen to our customers for the requirements that we get from our customers on a day-to-day basis, and then work on that. So obviously we've improved a lot after coming to HCL, and we actually released HACP EE by developing it from scratch in HCL. And the first version of HACP EE was released uh, uh, second half of last year, and that's completely developed in HCL. So the we are listening to our customers and getting inputs from them on a day-to-day basis whenever we interact with them using either PMOs or our client advocacy programs or anything like that, and we are working to implement all the functions and features that are required for our products to perform better and cater to a variety of users. So in short, it's a good thing that this partnership helps our products future roadmap to improve the features and functionalities for the entire spectrum of products that we have.
Uh, Thanks, Sunil. I think we covered up all the questions, and thank you all for attending the webinar. And thanks, Sunil, for presented well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Sunil, please stop recording. And
Yeah.